It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Hi folks, I've been telling you on the Sam Lesante shows, I try to keep you informed of what's going on in the different counties. We got good news, we have bad news, but the most important thing is to be informed. The more you're informed, I think the better off it is, particularly for many of my friends, senior citizens who don't have an opportunity of getting out and seeing what's going on. Hopefully that the Sam Lesante shows are bringing this information. To continue on with information in Schuylkill County, I have with me today Christine Holman, who is the District Attorney of Schuylkill County, and many things are happening in the county, as you know. And a little later on, we'll tell you the good news about what will be happening to keep you informed on a daily basis. Well, Christine, thanks for coming on the show again.
You're welcome, Sam. Great to be here.
We certainly kept you busy today, didn't we?
Absolutely.
Well, we talk about information. We talk about, keeping people informed so they know what's going on. We don't, I don't think everyone gets up in the morning and says, well, I wonder what's happening in the district attorney's office in Schuylkill County.
Right.
Okay. However, let's go back a little bit. When you were on, we were down talking about your accomplishments, what's happening, and some of the challenges that you have. In the end of November, you had a drug raid in Shenandoah, right?
Yes, long time coming, and very grateful to all law enforcement who participated in that drug raid. Really made a dent, and I think the people of Shenandoah and the surrounding communities feel very hopeful for the future that the drug trade, the drug dealing in Shenandoah will be curbed. I'd like to say eliminate it, but I'm not going to go that far, but we're definitely doing our best to reduce the drug dealing going on in Shenandoah and to make the streets of Shenandoah safer for law-abiding citizens. The November drug raid in Shenandoah encompassed, as I said, many law enforcement. The way I looked at it was the cavalry is here. We had state police, we had FBI, we had marshals, we had the local Shenandoah Police Department and some surrounding local officers. We had the Schuylkill County Drug Task Force. Everyone pulled their efforts together. We served between 30 to 40 search warrants, body warrants, and were successful in pulling that many drug dealers or users out of the places where they were squatting and into District Justice Kilker's office for an arraignment, properly housed now in one of the correctional facilities awaiting their due process.
And then in Tamaqua in January.
In January, yes. In fact, Sam, just last week I was privileged to be a part of another raid orchestrated between the Tamaqua Police Department, the efforts of Chief Weaver and his very capable staff, along with the Schuylkill County Drug Task Force. There were many other officers from different departments there, Rush Township, Higgins Township, Schuylkill Township, and I don't want to forget anyone, but they all come together. And everyone in Schuylkill County law enforcement, I feel, has a sense of pride to make Schuylkill County a better place and safer. The Schuylkill County raid, we began at 7 a.m. in the morning. We had 8 to 10 warrants split up into teams. I was privileged to be part of one of the teams. We went to the various areas where these individuals were situate, served the warrants, pulled them out of their homes, and took them directly to District Justice Baer's office where they were arraigned. Bail was set. These individuals are now again imprisoned in the Schuylkill County prison awaiting either a preliminary hearing or perhaps a bail reduction.
Okay, now, these things just don't happen overnight.
That's
okay?
right.
As we talked about many times, there's drug tips, there's drug task force, etc. And this is a combination of what happens when people are working together. And how do they start? Is it informants? Is it tips? How does this thing start going?
Yes, Sam, the raids that happen, it's not as if the night before the Schuylkill County law enforcement gathers together and say, hey, let's go out. There's months of planning that has to go into a successful drug raid. Confidential informants are used. The confidential informants typically have some lead time with doing some other buys. Once you have a confidential informant that can successfully do a buy, the police officers and the departments will either tape, videotape, or have a hand-to-hand buy where they've got a good witness that can successfully aid the prosecutor in bringing these drug dealers down. But it's a lot of work in getting to the point where you can gather, have the warrants, which you've got to get in advance, and serve them.
So now you have close to 50 people, at least so far, that have been arrested or whatever. Now, what happens to them?
What happens to these individuals, Sam? They are provided with due process, which means they will be arraigned. Arraignment means they are notified of what criminal charges are being lodged against them. They then have a bail set. If they can't post bail, they are incarcerated until a bail reduction hearing occurs. If they seek one, they then are subject to a preliminary hearing. At the preliminary hearing, it is the prosecution's job to make a prima facie case, which basically means that you have an individual as the defendant. You've got to prove that the individual is more than likely the one who committed the crime and that a crime was committed. Prima facie case is made. The individual then has, usually has a lawyer. That lawyer can seek discovery. Once all the discovery is set forth, put out on the table, we're ready. Either typically that defendant will plead guilty or they have the option to go to trial. With the drug trade and with these drug cases that we've been seeing, I can almost guarantee that we will successfully prosecute.
And how many years then do they go to jail?
Well, depending on the severity of the charge, if the charge is a misdemeanor, it can be anywhere from 2 to 7 years. With felony, anywhere from 10 to 20 years.
See, this is what sometimes the community says, you arrest these people, okay, and you said you're not going to eliminate it. It may put a curb on it, all right? And then what happens is someone else comes in because the need is there. The
need, unfortunately, always seems to be there, stemming, of course, from, maybe someone had an injury. They got addicted to pain pills. They then run out of pain pills. They can't get the pills. And thanks to the legislatures enacting the Senate Bill 1180, which is a prescription drug monitoring bill. But more than that, they then turn to the street. They turn to heroin, which today is cheaper to buy than a quart of beer. Also, I guess, fortunately, and I should add thank you to the Pennsylvania lawmakers, Act 139 was just recently passed at the end of November of 2014, where naloxone, or commonly known as Narcan, is a drug that would reverse the effects of a heroin overdose. And the Narcan is available to first responders, such as police officers, firefighters, EMS workers. And the results are amazing. A heroin overdose individual who receives Narcan will have that reversal, and really their life would be saved.
Mm-hmm. And then do they have to continue on medication?
No.
Are you saying it eliminates the addiction to heroin?
No, it would not eliminate the addiction. It would eliminate the overdose.
Okay. So you saved a life.
Saved a life. Now, that obviously, that individual still has an addiction problem, so they're going to need help for that addiction problem. And of course, we're all struggling with results there.
What about the help factor? Okay, because remember when we talked the last time, we talked about what do we do to rehabilitate? Okay, that's the concern. Okay,
right.
Throwing them in jail, okay, is one thing, but then what do we do to rehabilitate them?
To rehabilitate these individuals, Sam, we've got to have some centers, some education for these individuals, some centers where they can seek the rehabilitation efforts that are needed. They have to have jobs. They have to have a set plan in life. counselors. And I think, the way society is today, we've got to get a little tougher. We've got to hold the people accountable. It can't be, oh, I'm a heroin addict, you've got to help me, society has to help me. There's got to be some help from within. Toughen up.
The amount of education that's out there, okay, first of all, I do have compassion for someone who has had an injury, was on medicine, pain, and they can't get it. I'm not saying I condone it, but the point is, they're suffering. What I don't understand is anyone who does it for pleasure.
Exactly.
Okay, and that's the thing where it would really can ruin lives, ruin families, those are the concerns. Folks, I'm talking to District Attorney Christine Holman. And starting on SSP TV and also our good friends on Comcast 190, every day on part of all the All Around the Town segments that we have, Christine will be doing a insert or a segment on individual things that are concerning to you. And that'll be starting in the near future, and that's what keeping you up to date. Every week will be a different topic, but you'll have every opportunity. As you know, all around the towns are seen around 10, 15 times a week on both systems here on SSP TV and also Comcast 190. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show. Folks, remember 24/7, every one of my Sam Lesante shows you can see going back years. A lot of great shows, ssptv.com. My email is sam@ssptv.com. Thank you so much for the information I've been getting and also some good suggestions for some shows. One of the things I would like to do is inform you of what's going on in the different counties. Luzerne County, as you recall, in the Hazelton system, we played the interview with Bob Lawton, who is the county manager, and the Honorable Tom Burke, who was able to, and also Rick Morelli on the council, were able to explain to you what's happening with the council. And that was a show that I thought was very informative, and got a lot of response for that. And people didn't realize or know all the things that were going on in the county. Today I have Christine Holman, who is the district attorney of Schuylkill County, on the show, and she's talking about many things that are happening in the county. And once again, it's just to keep you informed. But let me give you a phone number for her office. It is 1-800-832-3313. That's 1-800-832-3313. If you have any questions or anything you hear, remember I said we're starting a segment on our All Around the Town shows on Service Electric Cablevision here on 13 and also Comcast 190. And every day you'll be able to get a segment as to what's happening in different areas. One of the areas that you're going to be going on is elder abuse. Now, we know, according to what you said here, it affects 5 million Americans each year. I really feel the number is much higher, but these are reported cases.
That's
okay?
correct,
So
Sam.
God knows how many unreported cases there are, probably double that, but because people are embarrassed or whatever, what the case. Elder abuse, what are you doing? What are the red flags that people should look for? Now, unfortunately, for those people who are watching or being abused, hopefully they'll pick up the phone and call your office, okay?
Yes.
But some of the signs that maybe family, relatives, or friends can see would be what for elder abuse?
Well, I think first, the first red flag, Sam, would be the neglect of care. If you would see an elderly person that would not be dressed properly, they might be disheveled, you might notice that their hygiene needs improvement. The individual who perhaps needs eyeglasses, they don't have glasses. The individual who wears dentures, they don't have dentures. They don't have certain apparatus that they should have. Financial exploitation is also a telltale sign where the individual doesn't know where their money's going. They may have signed over some real estate, but they can't really tell you about that transaction. They may have signed a power of attorney, but when you ask some questions about who their power of attorney is, what rights they may have given, they can't tell you. The The other sort of red flag is, sometimes the physical or perhaps sexual abuse, which happens to the elderly, and it's sad. These telltale signs would be a medical problem that would go untreated, where they would have bruises or bed sores, and sometimes would have major medical problems stemming therefrom without the care. But I think one thing that individuals can do is, if they know an elderly person, you kind of have to be a good Samaritan. You check in on that individual. You call them. You ask them if everything is okay. If you see someone with an elderly person that seems to be maybe taking advantage, if you see, and I'm not picking on contractors, but if you see an elderly person with a contractor or several contractors at their home, and that individual contracting firm is there for a while, you may want to just check in on that individual, make sure that they know what they're doing and what they're getting for their money.
Okay, so let me ask you a few questions here. Number one, sometimes this could be a very touchy thing in a family, okay?
Certainly.
Or let's say friends come over and they talk to Mrs. Lesante every day, and after a while they're noticing that Mrs. Lesante is not really the way she should be, okay? And now they hear Christine Holman, district attorney, say, listen, if you see some of that, all right, so now here's the thing. Do I want to get involved and mind someone else's business because I don't know what Mrs. Lesante's family is doing, but yet I noticed that there's something that's not right. I know the family, I'm concerned, I better not get involved. I go home and talk to my family, day mom, stay away from that, you know what's going on. What advice do you have for that person?
You can be discreet about your concern, and one of the things that I would suggest is contacting my office. You can contact the district attorney's office. The direct number to our office would be 570-628-1350. What I would do then is I would have my chief detective, Dolly Mallett, who really heads up our elder abuse task force, I would have herself or someone else assigned to making a visit. And we've developed a form, a reporting form, but just an on-the-spot visit, a hello to whomever, kind of see what's going on for ourselves so that we know, and the district attorney's office can take comfort in knowing that we may have helped someone.
But that is done very discreetly, correct?
Exactly, very discreetly.
So now a lot of good things could come from that. Number one, if I do get a visit from Dolly in a very nice manner, we're here just to do things, etc., that would alert me saying something, a red flag came up, wonder why they're questioning about Mrs. Lesante or whatever, and maybe see what may happen. The other thing could be is they could go to the person and say, did you call anyone and tell them that I'm beating the crap out of you? Did you tell them that I'm doing this, okay? And further abuse the person, okay? What happens then?
Well, we would ask the senior, we would give them a referral number. We would also, I think, refer that individual to senior services to do random spot checks on this individual, to ensure their protection and to assure the district attorney's office that they weren't suffering at the hands of their caregiver.
For my friends who are senior citizens, my suggestion to you would be this. If anyone's abusing you any way possible and you still, God willing, you have all your faculties, don't take it. Call the district attorney's number, and this number is 628-1350, 570. You call them and tell them that you feel you're being abused while you have all your faculties. I think coming from a person who is being abused and said, wait a minute, I shouldn't be doing this, and they're not in dementia, etc., they should make that phone call because it's coming from them.
Exactly.
Then Dolly could ask them the questions, etc. I think that's very important, don't you think?
It is, Sam, and we will point them in the right direction. I mean, certainly the district attorney's office is not in the business of giving financial advice, but we can refer this senior to the right professional people that will ensure their safety.
It's interesting here, you put down here, according to a study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, listen to this, folks, for all my senior friends out there, victims of abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation have 3 times the risk of dying prematurely. And we're all trying to stay healthy and live a couple extra years and enjoy lives, etc. I think this is going on in many places that are, it's not, as I said, not being phoned in or called, okay? Folks, I'm talking to Christine Holman, who is the District Attorney of Schuylkill County, and as I said to you before, starting in the near future on all around the towns, both here in the Comcast, Schuylkill's, listen to me, Service Electric System, Channel 13, and Comcast System 190. You'll be able to get a segment on all around the town, and she'll be informing you of different things and information. And one of the subjects she'll be talking about is elder abuse. We come back, we'll address another subject. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us, folks. I'm Sam Lesante. Remember, 247ssptv.com. Every one of our shows are there. Talking about informing and giving you information in Schuylkill County, we have on today Christine Holman, who's the district attorney. And one of the things you did talk about on the segments that you're doing for all around the town is the blight. Now, battling blight is an important part of fighting crime in Schuylkill County. Now, this is what I think people don't understand, or maybe do, but I want to bring it to their attention. Blight attracts crime, and unattended property becomes fair game for people out for fun or blunder, and even for people who ordinarily would not dream of doing such things and will probably consider themselves law-abiding. What do you mean by that?
Well, to leave a home in disrepair, to have a broken window and not do anything about it, to have trash scattered about, to have old appliances around on your porch or in your yard, anything that has to do with property becoming dilapidated or an eyesore breeds crime. It just lends itself to an unkept neighborhood, means maybe law enforcement doesn't care. So that's what I mean by a law-abiding citizen, Sam, may not know that they're committing blight, and they are.
I know you're doing a lot about blight in Schuylkill County. Briefly, what are you doing about it?
Right now, Sam, what we're doing is we're forming an anti-blight action team, and we're going to be talking with mayors, borough council members, borough presidents, all kinds of officials, county commissioners. Anyone who wants to be involved in fighting blight, we're going to have quarterly meetings. We're going to educate our code enforcement officers. We're going to define realistically what exactly are we looking for, what is blight. We're going to prosecute. We're going to take a few cases and put those cases through the law process. The public nuisance area is something that I want to move forward on and investigate fully. The public nuisance has already been addressed in the Pennsylvania Crimes Code, and that crime is a misdemeanor. It carries stiff penalties. So people in Schuylkill County will be aware. They'll see certain articles in the paper. They'll see in the police blotter individuals being charged with public nuisance for dilapidated properties. But that is what Schuylkill County is going to be doing to combat blight. Blight equals trouble. Trouble equals drug dealing. It all is a vicious cycle coming together.
Well, thank you, Christine, for coming on the show. Folks, remember, the show may be called Know the Law. It'll be run, Christine will have a segment on it every day. Will be on our all around the town segments, which run on Service Electric Cablevision, Channel 13 every day, and also Comcast every day on Channel 190. And each week will be a different topic. And here again to get information. Her direct number, 570-628-1350. That's 570-628-1350. We'll see you next time.